people think the fastest cars are the ones that look wild and loud. But in 1965, some of the quietest-looking cars were hiding big surprises under the hood. These are the 10 rarest sleeper cars that could blow the doors off anything at a stoplight. 1. 1965 Buick Skylark Gran Sport. The 1965 Buick Skylark Gran Sport looked like a regular car, but had real muscle covered inside. First of all, under the hood, it carried a big 401 cubic inch V8 engine. Even though Buick called it the 400, the real size was a little bigger. This powerful engine made 325 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque, giving the car serious speed for its time. Next big thing, the Gran Sport came with stronger parts than the regular Skylark. Buick added the convertible's heavy-duty frame to make it tougher. It also had special shocks, heavy springs, and a thick anti-roll bar to handle better on the road. These changes helped the car ride smoother and feel stronger when turning. As we dig deeper, Buick offered the Gran Sport with a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, or a super turbine 302-speed automatic. The 4-speed manual version cost $420 extra, but it made the car even more exciting to drive. The top axle ratio was 3.73 to 1, giving fast starts off the line. Moving along inside the car, buyers had to get bucket seats, which cost an extra $72. This made the car feel sportier. Posit traction was not included, so sometimes it was hard to control all the power, especially when starting fast. Turning to performance, the car could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.4 seconds and finish the quarter mile in 15.3 seconds at 88 miles per hour. These numbers were quick, but not as fast as the 1964 GTO or Plymouth's 426S. In terms of handling, there were some struggles. The heavy front end, carrying 58.3% of the car's weight, made cornering tricky. Skidding and sliding could happen, especially on wet roads. To fix this a little, some drivers added sandbags in the trunk. Looking at the brakes, the Gran Sport used bigger front wheel cylinders, but the small 9.5-inch drums had a hard time stopping the heavy 4,300-pound car quickly. Compared to others, it wasn't the best at stopping fast. Finally, about 70,000 Skylark Gran Sports were sold in 1965. Even if it wasn't the fastest or best-handling car, it stayed hidden as a strong and special sleeper car from Buick's lineup. 2. 1965 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu SS 396. One of the rarest sleepers ever, the 1965 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu SS 396Z16 was made in just 201 units. Right from the start, this car had a secret power hidden under its smooth looks. Under the hood, Chevy placed a special 396 cubic inch V8 engine called the L37. It made 375 horsepower and had a hydraulic cam, giving it a strong but smooth performance. Moving on quickly, the Z16 used a strong convertible frame even though it was a hardtop. It also borrowed the biggest brakes from Chevrolet's full-size cars. Thanks to these upgrades, the Z16 handled much better than regular Chevelle, offering great strength when stopping and turning. Inside the cabin, the Chevelle Malibu SS 396 came with comfy vinyl bucket seats and a cool center console. There were 3 main gauges, an electric clock, and an optional tachometer for serious drivers. Using simple words, it looked sporty but stayed classy. Now talking about options, buyers could pick power brakes, air conditioning, a power driver's seat, and even metallic brakes for better stopping. Also, the posit traction differential made sure the rear tires gripped the road well, which helped a lot with this much power. Sliding into the transmission, the SS 396Z16 came with a choice of a close-ratio 4-speed manual or a 2-speed Powerglide automatic. Both options gave the driver quick acceleration and smooth cruising. Meanwhile, the rear end got special black trim and taillights taken from the basic 300 series Chevelle, adding a cool but secret style touch. Digging deeper, the 396 engine was different from the later 396. It had 11.0 to 1 compression, making it extra strong. Experts said it shared parts with the full-size Chevy L78 engines, but had its own lighter features for the smaller car. That's why it stayed a secret weapon for lucky drivers. Not forgetting the body, the hardtop had 10 frame mounts, while convertibles used 14 mounts for extra strength. Also, both the grille and bumper were fresh for 1965, giving the car a newer, sharper look without shouting for attention. 3. 1965 Dodge Coronet 500 Convertible. The 1965 Dodge Coronet 500 Convertible stayed a rare sleeper, with just under 33,000 units made, including both hardtops and convertibles. Starting off strong, it had a clean, squared-off look with a full-length chrome strip along the sides and Coronet 500 badges behind the front wheels. The spinner-style wheel covers gave it a stylish but quiet appearance. Under the hood, the base engine was a 273.5 cubic inch V8 that made 180 horsepower. Drivers who wanted more could pick from 5 other V8s, like the 230 horsepower 318 or the strong 265 horsepower 361. Shifting to more power, buyers loved the 330 horsepower 383 engine. For true sleepers, the 426 cubic inch wedge engine offered 365 horsepower and turned the car into a street beast. Best of all, real thrill seekers could go for the 426 Hemi, rated at 425 horsepower, a true monster hiding in plain sight. Inside the cabin, the Coronet 500 gave a lot for its price. Moving to comfort, it had soft vinyl bucket seats, full carpeting, a center console, a padded dashboard, and electric windshield wipers. Dodge even used fancy words to describe the seat material, calling it saddle grain and tallow calf vinyl. Turning to the transmission, buyers had choices like a 3-speed manual, or they could pick a 4-speed manual with a Hurst shifter for quicker gear changes. This made it possible for the Coronet 500 to keep up with much faster-looking cars on the street. As we look closer, the frame was the same size as the hardtop, but needed extra strength for the convertible body. Dodge made sure to keep it solid with better mounting points, helping the car stay stiff even with the top down. Ray Banuels from Albany, New York, saved one of these rare gems. In 1974, he bought a broken one from a junkyard for $75. After 2 years of hard work, Ray fully restored it by 1989, finding the correct red interior pieces all the way from Oregon. Rolling along today, the 1965 Dodge Coronet 500 Convertible hides serious muscle under a calm body. 4. 1965 Plymouth Belvedere 426S. The 1965 Plymouth Belvedere 426S remained a secret powerhouse with just 4,469 units built. Starting right away, the Belvedere came with a 426 cubic inch street wedge V8 engine that made huge power. It used a single 4-barrel carburetor and had strong chrome valve covers and a shiny air cleaner on top. Moving to performance, this big engine worked with a 727 TorqueFlite 3-speed automatic transmission. In fact, only 265 satellite hardtops had this automatic setup with the 426 engine, making it even rarer. The Sure Grip rear differential with 3.23 to 1 gears helped the car put its massive power down to the ground. Switching to the outside, the Belvedere looked very clean and simple. It had a full-width grille with headlights moved to the fenders. The rocker and wheel well trim added a small touch of shine without shouting for attention. Finished mostly in matte black with a beige roof, it kept its muscle secret. Jumping inside, the Belvedere 426S had black vinyl bucket seats, a center console, manual windows, and manual steering. It also came with an AM/FM radio and a special rear speaker with reverb, adding a cool sound to every drive. A 120-mile-per-hour speedometer and 6,000 revolutions per minute tachometer made sure drivers could keep an eye on speed and power. Looking deeper underneath, the Belvedere was built tough. It had a heavy-duty suspension like police cars used in 1965, a front sway bar, independent front suspension, and larger brakes for better control. Even with all this strength, it still used four-wheel manual drum brakes, keeping it simple but strong. Talking about special changes, some cars added an aftermarket fuel cell in the trunk for better safety during races. Also, oil pressure and coolant temperature gauges were added to keep the driver informed. Taking a closer look, the Belvedere name was used for mid-sized cars in 1965. Belvedere the Pontiac had simple features, but Belvedere 2 and satellite models got plush carpets, nicer trim, and full wheel covers. The satellite even had full vinyl trim, bucket seats, and a few extra badges to show off its style. Thanks to its low-key looks and monster engine, the 1965 Plymouth Belvedere 420S remained one of the greatest sleeper cars ever made. 5. 1965 Oldsmobile 442. The 1965 Oldsmobile 442 turned into a true sleeper, with only 25,003 units built, including 3,468 convertibles. To begin with, Oldsmobile built the 442 by using heavy-duty parts already in their factory, adding a few upgrades to make it fast and reliable. Right under the hood, the 442 packed a 400 cubic inch V8 engine that made 345 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. This big block engine was brand new for Oldsmobile and gave the car great pulling power. With a 4-barrel carburetor and a strong dual exhaust system, the 442 was ready for action every time you pressed the gas. Sliding into the transmission, the 442 came standard with a 3-speed manual with a Hurst shifter. However, many buyers chose to upgrade. About 13,735 cars had the close-ratio 4-speed manual, and 10,578 cars used the Jetaway 2-speed automatic, making them a little easier to drive every day. Looking at the body, the 442 used a fully boxed convertible frame on all versions to keep it stiff and strong. The car rode on heavy-duty springs and shocks with a thick front anti-roll bar for better cornering. Around the back, boxed rear arms and another sway bar helped keep the car planted on the road. Moving inside the cabin, Cutlass models with the 442 package got bucket seats covered in tough Morosian vinyl. Buyers could pick extras like a center console with a built-in 6,000 RPM tachometer, power seats, deluxe steering wheels, and even air conditioning to stay cool while driving. Let's have a look on outside. You could spot a 442 by its unique horizontal grille, tricolor 442 badges, and small fake vents on the rear fenders. It looked clean and sporty without being loud or flashy, hiding its true muscle. In addition, the 14-inch steel wheels came with redline tires, giving it a stylish but serious stance. Although brakes were simple drum units all around, power brakes were an option for extra stopping help. In 1965, even though Pontiac's GTO sold in bigger numbers, the Oldsmobile 442 offered one of the best all-around performance packages with comfort, speed, and masked muscle for drivers who knew what they wanted. 6. 1965 Mercury Comet Cyclone. The 1965 Mercury Comet Cyclone stood out as a rare classic, with just 12,347 units produced. It came standard with a 289 cubic inch V8 that made 225 horsepower and 305 pound-feet of torque. This strong motor used a 4-barrel carburetor and 10-to-1 compression, making it much quicker than earlier Comets. Moving to speed, the Cyclone could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 8.8 seconds, depending on the driver and setup. Some testers got slower times, but the added horsepower in 1965 made a real difference. In quarter-mile races, it could reach 80 miles per hour in just over 16 seconds, proving it had true secret power. Speaking of body style, the 1965 Cyclone got a fresh, cleaner design. The front wore vertically stacked headlights and a wide grille made of horizontal bars. This made the car look tough, but still classy. Special chrome wheel covers with shiny lug nuts made it stand out without screaming for attention. Sliding into the inside, drivers got comfy bucket seats covered in pleated crinkle-grain vinyl. A wood-tone 3-spoke steering wheel sat proudly in front of the driver. Mercury also offered a center console between the seats, adding a sporty touch. If you wanted more, there was a rally pack with extra gauges like a vacuum gauge, a lapse time clock, and tachometer. Now let's talk about performance options. Buyers could pick a black or white vinyl roof and a handling package. This package gave better shocks, quicker steering, and stiffer springs for tighter turns. An engine dress-up kit came standard, adding bright chrome touches to the valve covers, air cleaner, dipstick, and radiator cap. Even small details like checkered flag badges on the fenders helped the Cyclone look ready for action. As we go deeper, real racers notice the Cyclone's strength early. 4 Cyclones with special 271 horsepower, 289 engines went to Daytona and drove 100,000 miles at over 105 miles per hour on average. Even more impressive, teams raced Comets in the rough East African safari. Though only limited Cyclones rolled out in 1965, these cars quietly built a solid name in muscle car history, hiding big power under clean, sharp designs that fooled many who underestimated them. 7. 1965 Rambler Marlin 8. Built for drivers who wanted more power, the 1965 Rambler Marlin V8 packed serious muscle under its smooth, fastback design. Its strongest option, a 327 cubic inch V8 with a 4-barrel carburetor, delivered a solid 270 horsepower, making it fast for its size. With only 10,327 units sold in its first year, the Marlin quickly earned a spot among the rarest sleeper cars of the 1960s. Its powerhouse, equipped with the 327 V8, came with a 3-speed automatic called Flash-O-Matic, which was the most common setup. About 4,337 cars left the factory with this combination, making it popular but still rare today. Some cars also came with manual transmissions for drivers who wanted more control. Sliding to the outside, the Marlin stood out with a big fastback roof, wide grille, and smooth sides. It had a unique look compared to smaller fastbacks like the Mustang and Barracuda. The shiny chrome trim and cool checkered flag badges on the fenders gave it extra style without being too flashy. Furthermore, the Marlin came standard with soft bucket seats and a wide center console. Drivers got a wood-look 3-spoke steering wheel and real metal trim across the dashboard. Many cars had extra options like air conditioning, headrests, and power brakes, which made the ride even more comfortable. Stepping into the suspension, AMC gave the Marlin strong parts like an independent front suspension, coil springs, and front disc brakes as standard equipment. This helped the Marlin drive smoothly and stop safely, even at faster highway speeds. Regarding performance, the 327 V8 gave the Marlin decent numbers. Some tests showed 0 to 60 mph times around 9.7 seconds, while quarter-mile runs happened in about 17.4 seconds at 79 mph. It wasn't the fastest on the track, but it was quick enough to surprise many bigger and louder cars. Going further into design, the roofline was raised a little higher to give good headroom for back-seat passengers. This made the Marlin more practical than many fastbacks, even though some people thought it made the car look taller. Even though the Marlin was priced close to the Rambler Classic 770, it didn't sell as well as AMC hoped. Dodge answered 1 year later with the 1966 Charger, but the Marlin had already left its mark as a stylish, comfortable sleeper car with true muscle for those who noticed. 8. 1965 Chevrolet Impala SS 409. In 1965, Chevrolet built over 1,046,000 Impalas, but only 2,828 of them came with the powerful 409 engine. Right from the beginning, the 409 stood out for its strength. Buyers could choose between two versions, one making 340 horsepower and another stronger one making 400 horsepower. Focusing on the engine, the 409 was big and tough. The 400 horsepower version only came with a 4-speed manual transmission, giving drivers more control and faster shifts. Under the hood, these cars had serious power, were able to race quickly off the line, and made lots of noise while doing it. Jumping to the outside, the 1965 Impala SS got a brand new body design. It had smooth sides, a wide grille, and a sleek, low roofline. Special Super Sport badges and shiny trim made it look sharp, but still serious. Most were painted in beautiful factory colors like artesian turquoise, giving them a cool, strong performance look. Moving inside, the SS 409 cars came with sporty bucket seats, a center console, and special SS emblems. Some models even had a rare 4-speed manual console that is still in place today. The dashboard held simple but clear gauges, and the big steering wheel gave drivers easy control at high speeds. Sliding to the chassis, early 1965 SS 409 models had a strong frame, but some frames had problems cracking near the front. Chevrolet fixed this later in the year, but early cars like this are very rare because many didn't survive rough driving. Checking the back, the cars used a tough 12-bolt rear end to handle the big power. The suspension was heavy-duty too, built to hold the big V8 and still give a smooth ride. The stopping power came from simple drum brakes, which were strong enough for the time, but nothing fancy. Taking a closer look, many SS 409s had extra features like factory air conditioning, though not every car had it. Inside, some parts like radios, gauge pods, or door panels often went missing over the years, making complete cars even rarer today. With only low SS 409s made, these cars became true legends. Big, fast, and rare, they marked the final strong roar of full-size muscle before smaller cars took over the streets. 9. 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2. Back in 1965, Pontiac built only 11,521 Catalina 2+2 models, making it one of the rarest masterpieces of the muscle car world. Also, the Catalina 2+2 showed off a big style with its long body, split grille, and stacked headlights. It looked sporty, but under the smooth lines, real power was waiting. Starting strong under the hood, the Catalina 2+2 packed a 421 cubic inch V8 engine. It had a 4-barrel carburetor making serious power, and some lucky buyers picked the tri-power setup with 3 2-barrel carbs. With up to 376 horsepower, the big Pontiac could fly down the road without any trouble. Moving to the drivetrain, drivers could pick a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, or the new Turbo Hydra-Matic automatic. The 4-speed was a favorite for speed lovers. The rear end was strong too, using a 12-bolt Salisbury-type axle, and safe T-Track limited slip was offered for better grip. Let's have a quick view on chassis. Pontiac gave the Catalina a new perimeter frame with a 121-inch wheelbase. Heavy-duty springs and shocks made the ride smooth but strong. At the corners, it had 14-inch steel wheels and finned 11-inch drum brakes to help stop all that speed safely. Not only this, the 2+2 came with sporty bucket seats covered in soft Morocide vinyl, a center console and optional gauges for temperature, oil pressure, and even a tachometer gave it a race-ready feeling. The new steering wheel and upgraded door panels added extra style inside the big car. Checking important parts, the 8-lug wheels were special and helped with better braking by cooling down faster. Buyers had to look out for cracks in the brake drums and rust at the bottom of the rear window, especially on cars with vinyl tops. Even today, finding a clean 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2 is a real challenge. With just limited production and even fewer tri-power setups, these full-size muscle cars stayed behind smaller legends but earned respect on every street and drag strip they touched. Number 10. 1965 Chrysler 300L. When talking about rare sleeper cars, the 1965 Chrysler 300L deserves a special place. Starting with the numbers, Chrysler built only 2,845 300Ls in 1965, with 2,405 coupes and just 440 convertibles. That makes it one of the rarest big cruisers from that time. Now let's talk power. Every 300-liter came with a strong 413 cubic inch V8 engine. It made plenty of power and was ready for smooth highway cruising or fast getaways. Buyers could pick between a 4-barrel carburetor setup or upgrade to a rare and powerful tri-power system for even more speed. Moving to the outside, the 300-liter had cool headlights with small crown emblems between them. A special tri-color badge sat proudly in the center of the grille, glowing at night. Along the sides, a thin red stripe ran through the chrome trim, making the 300L easy to spot if you knew what to look for. Beyond this, the 300L gave drivers lots of luxury. There were big, comfy leather bucket seats, a fancy center console with a gear shift, and a wide, beautiful dashboard full of chrome and lights. Some cars even had electric windows and extra lights, giving the cabin a true first-class feeling. However, the 300-liter rode on a strong frame and had smooth suspension, perfect for long highway rides. It wasn't built for tight racing corners, but offered a powerful and comfortable drive that few other cars could match. Taking a closer look at the details, the 300-liter also had stylish badges. The rear quarter panels proudly showed Chrysler 300, but only the badge on the fuel filler flap reminded everyone it was a true 300L. Moreover, this car's red side stripe really made it stand out. It wasn't just painted for fun, it was a factory design that matched perfectly with the car's sharp blue or white body colors. In the end, the regular 300 sold in bigger numbers. The 300L gave lucky owners a rare, impressive performance car wrapped in pure 1960s luxury and style. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.